Sahaa News, ఇది మీ న్యూస్.
ప్రభుత్వాలు ఎన్ని మారినప్పటికీ దేశవ్యాప్తంగా ఎడ్యుకేషన్ పాలసీలో మాత్రం మార్పు వస్తున్న పరిస్థితి కనపడలేదు. ఈ ఎడ్యుకేషన్లో వస్తున్న మార్పులు కావచ్చు, ఎలాంటి పాలసీలో ఎలాంటి మార్పులు రావాలి, రాబోయే పార్లమెంటు నూతన పార్లమెంట్ వస్తే ఎలాంటి ఎడ్యుకేషన్ పాలసీలో మార్పులు తేవాలని అనే విషయం గురించి మాట్లాడడానికి మన దగ్గర నిరంజన్ గారు ఉన్నారు. వాళ్ళు అడిగి తెలుసుకున్నాము. సార్, what is the education policy, first of all?
So, first of all, my name is Niranjan Aradhya. I represent the South Indian Alliance for Fundamental Right to Education. I work particularly for the implementation of the right to education in the country. All of us know that now education is a fundamental right in the Constitution. When we say fundamental right, it is the obligation of the state, whether it is the central government or the state governments. They have an obligation to implement the fundamental right to education so that they can ensure equitable quality education to all children through a neighborhood school. That is what the RTE says. RTE in section 3 says every child of 6 to 14 years have a fundamental right for education in the neighborhood school. So they should have equal, kind of facilities, good number of teachers, all the facilities. That is the part of, Right to Education Act. Though the Right to Education Act came into force in 2010, so far nothing much has been, kind of happened. What happened is basically the implementation of Right to Education Act at the national level is very poor. If you look at the statistics, it is only about 25.5. In the sense, in the last 15 years, if you take 100 schools, only 25 schools have implemented right to education in letter and spirit. Remaining 75 schools have not implemented. If you take our own state where I am now in Telangana, the Telangana implementation is just 30%. If you take 100 schools, only 30% have all the facilities defined in the Right to Education Act. Therefore, the purpose of today's meeting with all our friends who are part of the CFRA is to make fundamental right to education as a prime issue in the next forthcoming elections. In the sense, the people who are contesting and the parties who are kind of preparing the manifesto, they should include the promise of implementing the Right to Education Act in letter and spirit, because they need to prepare a map for implementing the right to education. If you look at states like Telangana, they are spending least. If you take 31 states and union territories, Telangana is in 31st place. They are just spending 6.3% of their budget to the education. I think whereas the other states have gone up to 21%, 18%. So I think probably the state should invest more money for the implementation of right to education. So we discussed all these issues and how to take this to the people, how to make this issue as a fundamental issue in the forthcoming elections so that we can fight elections based on the issues, not on the personal agenda.
What kind of policies will come?
So usually one thing is, every state should prepare a roadmap for the implementation of the right to education. And also every state should evolve their own education policy, because education in the concurrent list. States have every right to prepare their own education policy, particularly implementing right to education, and also to extend right to education both upward as well as downward. That is to bring pre-primary into the Right to Education Act and to expand education from class 9 to class 12 so that all children in the state will get 12 years of good quality education. That is the whole idea of this meeting.
అంటే సంవత్సరానికి ఎడ్యుకేషన్ పర్పస్లో బడ్జెట్లు తగ్గిపోతున్నాయని, దేశవ్యాప్తంగా చూస్తే తెలంగాణ చాలా తక్కువ స్థాయిలో బడ్జెట్ కేటాయించిన పరిస్థితి కనిపిస్తుంది. అదేవిధంగా ఏదైతే ఎడ్యుకేషన్కి సంబంధించిన పాలసీల్లో రోడ్ మ్యాప్ కూడా ఏర్పాటు చేయాల్సిన అవసరం ఉందని చెప్తున్న పరిస్థితి చూస్తుంది. కెమెరా పర్సన్ సాయితో సంజీవ్ రాజ్, సహా న్యూస్.